Today we are going off topic, big time. We're going to be talking about BOI. BOI is the Beneficial Ownership Information Report that if you're a business owner, you need to get filed by this year, which would be 12/31/24. Otherwise, you could wind up paying up to $500 a day in penalties. Fines, correct?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay, so today I'm sitting here with James Walsh, who happens to have a website that caters to exactly this, and it's called BOI filings with an S.com. Hi.
Hi, very nice to meet you, Joe.
We go back like 20 years, me and this guy. So tell everybody how important this is, Jamie, and let them, what are the steps to get this done? There's a lot to talk about here.
Absolutely.
Go for it.
The BOI filing is a new filing that all businesses need to do. There's 42 million businesses across the United States and internationally that need to do this filing. The filing, the requirements of doing the filing is if your company makes under if it makes under $5 million in revenue, then you must provide this filing. The filing is due by the 31st of December of this year. I do advise everybody to do this filing prior to that because the problem is they have not had the amount of people that need to do the filing actually use the government system yet. And I'll explain to you why. There's only 3.9 million people that have actually done the filing so far. So you have an extreme amount of people that still need to do this filing.
Right.
So what they're afraid of is they're afraid that the system is actually going to crash. So the nice thing about using our system is we have an API direct with the government service.
Okay.
So we do the filing for you, you're going to have that filing done within a couple of hours. So that's the benefit of using us. Another benefit of using us is you're going to have to do the BOI filing continuously as your business ages. And I'll explain to you why. If you make any changes, such as a name change, a business address change, or a phone number change, you're going to need to do another BOI filing 30 days or less after that change has been done. Otherwise, once again, the $500 a day fine starts.
Per day.
Right. So this is going to be
That's
a
gonna
filing
add up
that
quick.
You're going to need to be very educated with this filing in the first couple of years.
Right. So my first question, with your response there, my first question from that is, you say any kind of a change with the business. Now, what about if the CEO changed or the secretary changed? Does that matter?
No, that if the CEO changes or any large position of holding 25% or more, or has a controlling entity. Now, that's the key word that they haven't really defined clearly. But if you're a controller of the company, meaning you're an operating manager, you have to put yourself down as a beneficiary representative of that company. And I'll give you an example. Say there is a homeowners association. Well, homeowners association, they have lots of people that are listed as those agents in that company. They're going to need to all put their names down as a beneficiary owner. Otherwise, that organization could be liable for the $500 a day fine.
Hear that, HOA people? Get on it. I used to be an HOA president.
Did you really?
Hated it. And anyway, explain what FinCEN is.
FinCEN is an organization that was really, it used to concentrate on banks and credit unions and stuff like that. And they would try to find bad actors that were basically money laundering. This is a new law that people have passed through. I don't know why they've created this new law, but I'll tell you some facts and then people can make the determination themselves.
Sure.
This is going to go through this year. There's nothing that's going to stop it. Technically, there are a couple of lawsuits, but now what they're willing to do is they're willing to allow the people that are in that lawsuit to maybe not be able to do the BOI, but everybody else is still required to do that filing. The problem is they were supposed to allocate $11 million per state so that people would be educated and know that this law is coming about. They drew all of that money back because of the war in the Ukraine and Israel. So you have this new law coming in, and really the people that are educating people are registered agents, lawyers, CPAs.
That's how I found out at first. I got a letter from an email from my accounting firm, and then I got an email from my attorney. That's how I found out about this. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known.
Well, we are basically a system provider for people like that. To do the filing is very inexpensive. It's $8.95. We hold all of your information on a secure database. So if you want to access that at a later point in time, you can do that. Mm-hmm. And that's really beneficial, especially if you have a couple of owners. Also, this is another reason you have to do the BOI filing. Let's say that your ID that you uploaded with them expires. You need to do the BOI again because you need to upload your new ID. So the system, it basically notifies you when your ID is going to run
Your
out.
system.
Our system, yes.
Yeah, your system. Okay.
Yeah. So we basically are a system provider for lawyers, CPAs, and accountants.
Right. So once again, everybody listening, the website is boifilings.com. That's how you can get to Jamie's website that he's talking about right now.
That's correct.
So, all right. And so, by the way, FinCEN, Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, it's a government agency. If you had never heard of it before, that's what he's talking about. So
I know I talk about it so much. I assume that people know what I'm talking about.
Not on this show. We can't assume anything on this show. Sometimes I'm like, when I'm on here, I learn a lot just from having a guest on, and that's why I like doing it. I don't know everything my guests are going to say, and sometimes I'm just like, whoa, where the hell did that come from? But I'll tell you what gets my attention with this thing is the daily fines. Yeah, that is insane.
Well, they've actually in the hearing that they just had, they're actually going to be adding interest for each day that they fine you. So it's not actually $500. It's more than $500. I think it's $500.
Sounds like an IRS bill.
Yeah. And those are the people who are going to collect is the IRS.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds convenient.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah. So I should shut down my business tomorrow.
Well, if you shut down your business tomorrow, that's another reason you have to do the BOI because even if you close it down and it's operating even for 1 minute in 2024, you have to do a report.
I've already filed mine, just so you know.
Okay, good.
So everybody knows I am done. And this took place about a week ago. My accountant had actually done it for me. After they said they weren't going to do it, they wound up doing it for me. I'm like, okay. So they did it for me. So I'm set. I did get my certificate.
Good for you.
I got that. I saved it. I screen grabbed it. So if anybody says I owe money, I'm going to have to show them what's up. So what else? Now, a couple things. There's a couple things that I noticed about reading up on this BOI, and there's 23 exemptions.
Yes.
And they are basically, if you're like an agency, insurance companies, stuff like that. Do you happen to have that memorized?
No, I don't have that actually memorized. Insurance companies, 9 times out of 10, it's if they're the provider, meaning the carrier of the insurance, or the broker. If they're the broker, no, they're still required to do that. If they're the carrier, then they'll be making over 5 million, so it won't affect them.
I see. So why is that? Why is it that if you make so much money, you don't have to do this, but if you don't make that much money, you have to do this? Do you happen to know what that is? What defines that, and who made up that rule and why? That's an interesting one.
Well, the Congress made up all of the rules. I don't know why they did that. It seems very similar to a poll tax, and a poll tax is used when they have a war. But I have no idea why they're doing this. Mm-hmm. They have mentioned in the last meeting that they had that they won't be going after all individuals. They'll only be going after the individuals that they're trying to indicate that are using corporations for crimes, money laundering and stuff like that.
Bad actors.
I would not rely on that. I would just follow the law so that you don't get a tax lien on your business.
Right.
Because they're very, very serious about you following this new legislation.
Right. So here's a question for you. As far as who is required for this, I'm just a one guy operation here, one man band. I play all the instruments. So I have to do it.
Yes.
Now, let's say I had 20 employees, would I have to do it then? Does it matter?
No, the amount of employees doesn't matter. It's the ownership of the business.
Okay, so that's all it is.
Yeah, if you own 25% or more, or if you're in, but then the operating agents in the business is very vague. Even when I went to the hearing in Washington, D.C., and people asked that question and they weren't really definitive on their response. They were just saying, please name the people that are controlling the corporations. And that is a requirement.
That's what
I think if you do the filing and you put all of the actual 25% owners of the corporation and if you do have people operating the company for you, you'll be fine. So just follow the directions of what they're requiring for you. And you must upload an ID as well, which is very important.
Which is what I had to send my accountant.
Yeah, you have to have an active passport, or you can have an active ID like a state ID or a driver's license.
That's what I used, yeah.
Yeah, if you don't want to share your actual address, I'd suggest that you use your passport because your passport doesn't have your address on it.
That's true. So what if, now is there any stipulation on this or any difference for, let's say someone's a sole proprietor, an LLC, an S Corp, a C Corp, none of that matters.
None of that matters.
None of that matters.
That's
what I want everybody to understand, like what's important and what's not. So what's important is who runs that corporation. That's all they want. They want your information. They want to know your shoe size and all that good stuff. Okay, understood. And what else can we add to that? Anything?
You have a countdown. It's in the 50 days that you have from this, when we're filming this one right here, but you have until the December 31st. I wouldn't wait until the December 31st because we're all expecting in the industry that the system will crash. Now, the problem is if that system does crash prior to 2024, they will not be 25, excuse me. They will not be doing any exemptions, because they're saying that you have the entire year of 2024 to do the filing.
That's true.
So it's coming down to crunch time now.
Yeah. So, I was just made aware of this like 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And you and I happened to run into each other because you called me for another home inspection. So
that's right.
That's how all this just transpired. Like it was like great timing. And I was like, wow. So just so everybody knows, this went into effect January 1st, 2024. And here we are. Today's November 12th, 2024. Yeah. I mean, November 10th, 2024.
If you started a corporation in 2024, then you got 90 days to start to file the BOI.
Right.
The law really states that you have 30 days, but they did an extension to 90 days so that people could get used to doing the filing.
Yep. But prior to starting a business in 2024, they gave you the whole year.
Yeah, they gave you the whole year.
Yeah, they gave you the whole year.
Yeah. And now you're going to be everyone's going to be required to have it by the 1st of January 2025.
Right. So if anybody out there listening has a business, if you're not sure what to do, don't do this. Don't ignore this. We're stressing this to you. Do not ignore this. Call your accountant, call your lawyer, make sure everyone's on the same page, and then go to BOI filings with an S.com. And Jamie can set you up there. Like I said, what, $895 you said?
Yeah, it's $895. It's not going to break the bank.
And that's just for entry level? How does that work?
No, what that basically does is that's for entry level. If you have more BOI filings that you need to do, for example, you have multiple companies.
Okay.
You can add as many companies once you're inside of the system.
Okay.
It's not difficult to use. We have a call center as well, so you're more than welcome to call the call center and they can help you through. And we also have a support desk that can help you on the website as well.
So if you don't mind me asking, when did you build your site? Was that at the beginning of this year, middle?
No, we built this last year. The company that actually manages this is called Legal Registration.
Okay.
We have another website called legalregistration.com. And we do corporate filings and establishment of corporations, registered agents,
Okay.
Stuff like that. So we were very educated that this law was coming into effect. So we built the software last year, and it's actually been in operation. And I think we were the first group of companies that actually got the API with the government system, and they've actually stopped giving the API for some reason because they're worried about bad actors in the industry. So
there's a scam on every level, man.
Right. Yeah.
So here's an interesting thought. So let's say if what they say is true, the reason why they're doing all this is to go after bad actors, illegally run businesses, whatever they're laundering money, whatever the hell they're doing. So let's say they come across one, and that company doesn't want to file. I wonder how they're going to approach that. Like, how are they going to approach that? So first of all, the company is not filing. They're finding them every day, and they're ignoring them. What are they going to do? Send in the Gestapo or what?
That's a good question. I mean, if you do the calculations of, okay, you have 3.9 million that have done the actual filing so far. In total, you've got 42 million businesses. Let's say another 10 million do that filing. You've still got 30 million people that are going to get fined. If you do 30 million times 500, I mean, do the math.
Let's just do that in a week.
Yeah. I mean, it's astronomical. I mean, it's probably going to fix a lot of problems tax-wise, and it's going to bring a lot of money into the government. And if people are not going to do it in the beginning, there is going to be some point where that system is going to be overloaded, where you cannot do that BOI filing,
right,
for a specific amount of time. And when that happens, people are going to get
some big bills in the mail. Big bills in the mail. And a lot of send them a box of tissues because they'll be crying. They'll definitely be crying. I'd be crying if I got one of those.
Oh yeah.
If no one told me.
The maximum fine for, I think, is $250,000.
The maximum?
Maximum, yeah.
Oh, okay. So they did put a ceiling on.
They put a ceiling on. Well,
Well, that's comforting. That's very comforting. But I'm going to keep a close ear out for all this and see if anybody actually gets snafu'd in it. And see what happens, There's
supposed to be advertising on TV. I haven't seen any commercials.
Not me either, man. I went on YouTube today and checked out. There was some posts up, people making videos about this.
Yeah.
And we'll be one of them.
Yep.
Soon. And I'm just like, okay, so everybody seemed to have the same knowledge from what I was watching. And nothing we hadn't talked about already.
Well, on our YouTube channel, legalregistration.com, we've created a webinar. So if you want if you want to take the webinar, it's I think it's 15 minutes long. It's not difficult to watch. It'll explain to you all the different parameters around this new law. So,
and what was that website again?
This YouTube channel is called legalregistration.com.
YouTube, legalregistration.com. Okay, I'll check that out too. And I'll put that in the link in the description. All the websites we talked about will be in the description of the video here, guys. And anything else you want to throw out there about regarding this that we need to know, or is it just the urgency part?
The urgency part, and if you have friends, a family that have corporations, please educate them, let them know about this law, because it's going to affect a lot of people, unfortunately, not in a positive manner. So you just really want to spread the word and let people know that this law is coming at the end of the year. Hopefully they'll have it on the news. Hopefully they'll be explaining it to as many people as they can. But at this point in time, I really don't see that they're going to get the message out to the people that they really need to get the message out to. I agree,
because everyone I have told in my little circle of people, they're like, huh?
Yeah, they don't know where it's coming.
Bro, just call your accountant, your lawyer. Just make sure you're not going to get snafu'd into this.
Well, there's some lawyers that call us and have arguments with us over the telephone, and they're like, "We're not going to do that for our clients." I'm like, that is the wrong approach to take with this law, because this law has been in effect since 2022. So they've gone through all the different hurdles and back and forth. And a lot of people didn't pay attention to it because it was COVID. Right. So now it's the last moment where everybody needs to be compliant.
So earlier you mentioned a poll tax. So do you have details on what a poll tax is?
Yeah, poll tax is basically, this has been going through with all different countries, and that's basically how they generate money in time of war. And they used to charge a specific amount of money to it per family or per household. But this law looks very similar to a poll tax, but it's really being given to the middle class. So this is a tax for people who are running their business. So
I pay enough taxes on my business.
Right. So if you make the mistake of not doing this, you could be liable for a hefty bill.
Now, a lot of people that are anti-government are going to be like, no, I ain't doing it. They're going to fight back. And let me finish my thought, because I know you're going to say something. But I'm just thinking they're going to be pushing back. But let's see, you already have a business. Well, if you have a legit business, the government already has your information. They already know your name, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. They
already know.
You have it. They have an EIN. You have an EIN number.
No, that's not how they're getting your information. What they've been doing with the banks is when you go and sign up for a bank account for the last 3 years, in the forms, they say, please sign this. This is for your BOI filing. So they know when if you have a bank account in the United States, they already have your information on your bank, and they already have your information on your name.
Right.
So
giving that, what I'm trying to get at is if anyone out there's a doubting Thomas and they're just like, no, I don't want to do this, blah, blah, blah. These people already have that information.
Yeah.
They're just making you fill out a different form. They're not asking for anything else that they wouldn't already have. Am I right?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So if anyone's pushing back on this, I think it's foolish, because one, it only costs $8.95 on your website.
Right.
And two,
you could access that later on down the road.
Right.
Especially if you have multiple partners. Right. You know, when you have multiple partners, it's difficult to get hold of them, to get their information again, to get their new ID. So all of that, and also the system will email them directly. Right. If the change needs to happen.
Right. Yeah. So don't be freaked out, people. I know a lot of people out there anti-government, and every time something pops up, they're just like, rah! They got the guns out and everything.
Yeah.
Revolution.
I hope not.
A BOI revolution. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out. This is information that you've already given up to the bank or to the government already, because you got an EIN number. You're paying if you're legit. I'm only talking about you as legit people out there. And I think the reason why they're doing this is to catch the people that are not legit.
Well, when they started putting this into effect, a lot of the states gave them a lot of pushback. So they wouldn't share the information with them. I'm talking about the Secretary of States in each of the different states. Right. So they bypassed that by doing it with the banks. So if you open the bank account, now they have your information, because they do that filing as a requirement of them being an actual bank.
Right. Now it's standard procedure.
It's now standard procedure. Like if you go and open a bank account, you'll see that your BOI information is being given to them already.
That's a good point there, Mr. Walsh. It's the urgency part of this. That's why we're doing this podcast. This is not about my typical buying a home, don't panic type of content. But this is important stuff, especially if you're a business owner. So take care of it. Once again, James has a website. It's boifilings.com. And you get on there, and minimal fee, $8.95 probably for most people.
That's correct.
And how long does it take for them to get through the process?
Take them about 5 to 10 minutes to go through the process. If you shop around, you'll see that we're the cheapest in the entire market. We're a system provider for all lawyers, accountants, and CPAs. So now this price gets pushed on to the general public. Well, we're trying to promote, and it's only $8.95.
And here's a tip for everybody. Before the tariffs take place, you might want to get this done. Thanks, Jamie.
You're very welcome, sir. Pleasure being on your show.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.